And welcome back to the Off the Clock Show. You're joined again with your hosts, Shawn Gervais from OrbisX CRM and Marshall Hill from Pints of Polishing Podcast, as well as hyperClean car care products. Absolutamente. And what are you sipping on today?
Oh, there's nothing important.
No,
Just some Coke and whiskey.
it looked refreshing and
Oh, it
frothy.
is. It
Yeah,
is.
okay.
Trust me, I was ready.
There
I
you
was
go.
ready.
Nice. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, this is my seventh one, but yeah.
No,
And
first, but I was
okay.
ready.
Well, there you go.
I was
Yeah, but
ready.
you're ready. Yeah. Me, it's standard Negroni. It's my usual Friday go-to. And especially this Friday in particular. Tomorrow is the birthday party for my daughter, my eldest. She just turned 15. And so but her actual birthday was a few days ago, but we're having the party on the weekend, of course. So we finally got the pool opened up and everything's ready to go, patio set up. We're gonna cook our asses off tonight, and then that way we don't have to do so much tomorrow. So that'll be nice.
What's
But
on the menu?
oh my God, her menu is vast, and we had to cater to some millennials. So it's got or no, Gen Zs. Yeah, are they Gen Zs? I think so.
Yeah, we're on past millennials now.
Yeah, that's
Millennials
right.
are in the workforce. I don't think
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
also.
that's most of my daughter's friends are old. No, the yeah, so Gen Zs. Okay, yeah. So there was and I nixed some of it because I said, listen, I can't do all this, like, this person's, I don't know, hyperallergenic to whatever and this and that. Like I can't do it. So anyway, menu huge. So a lot of chicken, but she wants different types of chicken. So we're doing a chicken that's like a KFC style recipe. We're also doing barbecue chicken. And then we're doing empanadas, and so I'm doing both chicken and carne, beef. And what else are we doing? So that's some of the mains. There's also going to be a stir fry that's going to have some chopped up beef in it as well. Then sides, we've got lettuce, rice. I don't know how to say this in English, but patacones. You probably have something similar in Brazil. It's like a plantain, but smushed flat and then fried. You're like, what the hell is that? They're like chips, almost. But so plantain? Yeah, so it's like a banana kind of little bit
Plantain.
plantain. Oh, okay. We call it plantain. So okay, plantain.
Well, you're
Uh,
wrong.
yeah, but you're that's fair. That's fair.
Just because you're on top up north doesn't mean you're right.
That's fair. That's fair. So it's a plantain? Say how do you say? Oh, okay, no, but is that how you plantain? Oh wow.
Plantain.
Plantain. Okay. I mean, it's kind of how it's spelled out it sounds, I guess. Sounds how it's spelled. Anyway.
Logic. That's what we use in the middle part of North America.
There we go. Fair. Wow, we're pulling people up today. So so plantain is gonna be there, but it's basically thinly sliced, and then you smush it and then fry it on both sides in oil. So it's kind of like a chip, but a little bit thicker.
A banana chip.
Yeah, exactly. But then
I have had those.
salt
Yeah,
it and
sure.
stuff.
We can get those down at the grocery store.
Yeah. Those are plantain chips, I guess. So it's a little bit thicker though, but usually we'll have that with some hot sauce or something. Or we do festival. I don't know if you've ever had festival. So my wife's Jamaican, well, part Jamaican, and it's something they do there. It's oh geez, how would you best describe that? It's almost the exact same thing, but sweet. Because it's made like mostly like flour and then sugar and stuff like that. But it's I don't know, they're little discs as well.
Yeah, sounds great.
Cookie of sorts. It sounds great.
When you make it, post it in the group. No, it
Really
does.
good.
It sounds very
Oh
interesting.
yeah, okay. I will post it. Yeah.
Post it in the group. Yeah, that's a unique thing that I don't think hardly anybody that listens is ever gonna go, yeah, I've had that. I mean, nobody will have a understanding what you're talking about unless you take a picture and put it in the group like you need to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny because my daughter's boyfriend came over 2 or 3 days ago for dinner, and he had never had it before. He never had saltfish, and so we made saltfish and rice, and then he loved it. He finished his plate, and then he went back for more festival, and then asked my daughter if she could bring some to school, so she brought some, and then I unfortunately went back to the fridge the next day and they were gone. But anyway, so
Well, I was gonna say smart kid, but
yeah, well, no, it's
little
not
too
his fault.
much.
Yeah, it's not his fault. Yeah, a little too greedy.
I wasn't gonna use the word greedy. I was just saying a little too smart. Like smart kid. Really get in by telling them how great it is. But then it was like, take all of it out of the fridge and bring it. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Whoa, dude.
It's,
Hey.
it's true. You know what though? I will say this. We played a game. First night we had dinner with him. My wife, she has this game called Icebreakers, and it's like just questions when you meet somebody, stuff like that. So she put cards at each table setting, and we flipped over a card. You'd read your question or whatever, people would answer. You move on to the next person. And one of his questions was that he got was, if you were stuck on a deserted island, what three things would you want to bring from your house? And typical teenager, I figured cell phone is going to be like number one, obviously, probably like PS5 or something. You know what I mean? Like that's what I thought his list was going to be. And the kid surprised me, man. He's like, I'd bring a book because I'm going to be bored, so I'm going to want an activity. But then I also need something that I could use for like fire or something like that. And I was like, man, that's pretty.
I'm gonna read it and then burn it, huh?
Yeah, read it.
Better
Yeah.
start reading fast. Because that fire goes a lot quicker than the way I read. Let me tell you that. Better take a speed reading course before you go.
100%. Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah, at least light it at the back first so you can, read or do middle and just read the front chapter and then the last chapter. You kind of fill in the blanks. It's like a write your own story.
Well, you said he was smart. He can't speed
Yeah.
read and get through it
Yeah.
all. Come on.
I don't, I should test them actually.
There you go.
Yeah. See, I got to
That's
put them
smart
through
of you.
these hurdles. I don't know. It's my first time with a kid that has
What's your favorite book? I'm gonna light it on fire, see if you can read it fast enough.
you can read it. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, what?
He's going to have quite the story for his parents when he goes home. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, Meet the Fockers was real, Dad. This guy's an
exactly.
asshole.
So true.
I'm
Jesus.
not in the circle of trust.
Yeah, I know that. Remember when he woke up, he has the paper here, and he has the dots on the outside. So good. Oh man. That's where some of my staff are right now. Mm, that's a story for another time. But we've been having a difficulty with one staff member, but it's all
Eh,
good. Managing.
Pause for there a second. Don't go into it, but just go,
Yeah,
yeah, guys, having team members is never easy.
yeah,
The more
that's
you
true.
have, the more bullshit you're going to take care of.
Yep,
You're
absolutely.
just not going to be the one doing the bullshit. You got
Yes,
to take
exactly.
care of the
Yeah.
leftover.
Exactly. That's what it is. That's why they call them like managers. When you have a manager, they manage the bullshit. That's what they do. And so I may not have to do the actual, labor in the trenches part at the shop anymore, but I have to a whole new set of responsibilities that comes with managing their personalities and managing their you name it. It's work. And that's where I think a lot of the times people when they hire, they think this is just going to be like they're all only thinking of the solutions. Oh, this is going to be the solution to XYZ. This is going to this that I'm going to have so much more free time. And it's like maybe not. Your time might just get chewed up with other stuff, but you will be able to, grow that way, obviously, but it definitely has its own challenges and hurdles.
And here's what I've realized about people when they start hiring. And if they think and they'll go, hey, yeah, now that means I have time and I go do this. I just go,
Yeah.
nah, man, it's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like, it's not how it works.
No.
I knew guys that means they take a longer lunch. It means they can go take a beer at 2 o'clock. That means they can go watch their kid do that. No,
Yeah.
that's not what that means.
Yeah,
No.
not at all. Not at all. Like once you get to a certain size, maybe, but I think it's mostly once you get to a size where you can
Once you
hire
get to a
a member
size
of
that
the
you can
team
hire an actual
that
manager.
exactly. I was gonna say you hire a team that's managed by somebody, but yeah, it's like because us right now, the smartest thing we did was it was just in the beginning, myself and Nick, we were partners in the business. We brought someone in that was working there, and then sweat equity worked their way into a management position, and then an equity partner as well.
Mhm.
But the
Perfect.
advantage there was that we were instantly able to step away and then have
Mhm.
someone that has skin in the game so we don't have to worry about like a lot of people do like oh are they just going to like take my clients or something. Never been a concern, you know what I mean? It's and so we built it up that way. Sure, we get less payback, but at the same time the biggest thing we got is the one thing we wanted, which was time. And so it makes sense. But that's where I think when it comes to hiring people, and you can do that same thing with just a manager. You don't have to give away part of your company. We did because it made sense for us, but um, you know, getting just a manager to take over that role. But you have to understand there's going to be a period of time where, as you know, Marty, hiring managers, it's not even if they have managerial experience, they're not coming in tomorrow and then you're going to start going to your daughter's recitals the next day. You know what I mean? It's going to be a process, and you're going to feel like you're almost working for free for a period of time because you're still putting in a lot of those hours that you're hoping they're going to do, but you're paying them. And what you have to do is stay the course and just keep that going, or else they'll never be trained up. You're never going to step away, and you're going to just keep holding on to the reins. You gotta not be the jockey. Let go of the horse.
And yeah, I think a lot of people think you're right. Like, hey, I can just hire some people, then I can't step away.
Yeah.
I'll now go. This is the biggest, and it's, if you hear somebody say this, and those of you that are listening, if you've said this, you'll know I'm going to call out at, like, I'd never have like this. Well, now it means I get to work on my business, not in my business.
Oh yeah.
No, man, that's not what that means. No,
Yeah.
people like you say that, but that's not what that means.
Yeah. Do you think there's actually a differentiation between the two? Like, I don't know. Like, for me, if I'm working on my business, I'm in my business, and if I'm in my business, I'm working on my business. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the sign to me when I hear that. I go, you won't make it.
Yeah.
You don't get it.
Yeah.
And that's right. You don't get it, that you don't get to choose either or. You're always doing both.
Yeah, it's true.
And
like,
if you're not always doing both, then you are grinding and you're not climbing. Because if you were climbing, you would be doing both, and you would know that you need to be doing both. It's almost like ambidextrous, Shawn, right? That's really what it is. I mean,
100%. You're doing this with this hand, that with that hand.
Doing that with the other hand at the same time.
Yeah,
you should never think of it either or. Like,
yeah. It's true. That's actually a good way to put it, because it's like juggling. You're throwing the balls in the air, and you could juggle with one hand, you could juggle with the other hand, but really you're juggling with both hands.
We've coined the term on the podcast, entrepretenders.
Entrepretenders.
Entrepretenders would be those that juggle one hand at a time, and they work on their business.
Yeah.
And they work in their business, and now they're happy about getting the other way, and they don't realize they're just juggling with the same hand. It doesn't matter. Yeah. The others are those that juggle with both hands and are climbing, and they are true entrepreneurs and not entrepretenders.
Yeah, entrepretenders. That's good. I like that. That's a good term. And so it brings me to a good point. I was talking with someone recently, and they asked me for some advice. They're doing what they said was a lot. And they said, I'm doing a lot, but I'm not getting to that next level I want to be at. I'm not getting I'm getting leads that are coming in, but I'm not getting more sales out of them. What can I do? And I was hesitant at first, because this isn't someone that's in our community per se. They're in the industry, but they're not a member of our software. But anyway, without giving away who they are. Anyway, they were asking for some advice. They have leads coming in and stuff, and they said, I'm doing a lot. And I watched a lot of YouTube. I took some courses. I talked to this person and that person and all these mentors, and people were giving me advice. And I started doing all of the stuff that they were saying. And he was doing.
I'm sure that was a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of busy work.
100%. And it's funny, because that same term that same phrase was brought up to me as well during this conversation. It was that, I've decided to step back for a minute and work on my business and not in my business, because and this is what he said, that's what all the industry leaders and experts told me. Right.
Those that have never really run a business.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, that's, something. It's activity, I said, that's good. But when it comes to doing a lot, that's subjective. It's like that a lot to someone on what are those things, a Stairmaster at the gym. A lot might be 5 minutes, and then you see the 80-year-old guy hop on, and he's been doing it for 30 years, and he goes and bangs out an hour, and you're like, Jesus, to that guy, that might not even be a lot. You know what I mean? So it's a lot can be very subjective, and I think that a lot of people think they're doing a lot, and maybe they are doing a lot of things, but are they doing the right things, and are they doing the right amount of things? So I wanted to get your thoughts and feedback on this as well, because me personally, I feel that a lot needs to be like you'll know when you hit a lot because the results are there. And if you haven't got the results, then you're not doing a lot. Definitely not a lot of the right things.
Do I think there's people doing a lot of things? Yeah. And I think if, while you're saying that, I just mentally went into a couple of people that I know I watch on their social or come into our group or,
Mhm.
we look, we look around. We like to see what some people are doing when they, maybe they are somebody that sparks your attention for some reason. Maybe it's the question they asked or why they asked it or the style in which, right? So, we like to dig in sometimes and see what we think some people are doing. I do think there's people doing
Mm.
uh, a lot of busy work.
Yeah.
We on the podcast maybe a year ago or so, we really talked about that busy work, the amount of busy work that people do. And it's tough, right? I mean, that the idea that if I'm doing something will eventually turn into something.
Mm. And it's
And it could,
for the
right? I
most
mean,
part, it could, yeah.
you could go to that analogy, which is something that I've used. I think I've used it even here is it does take perseverance. And it
Yeah.
does take a lot of work for, is it was it the bamboo? It takes 6 years before it starts growing, and then
Yeah.
it's 6 months or something, and it grows the entire 6 feet or something. It's all weird numbers like that, right? But it's a lot of time with no results, and then eventually you get results. Can you do a lot of busy work and eventually, yeah,
Have something pan out.
you
Sure.
can. You can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people won't be able to persevere off of very little with high energy stamina.
Yeah.
Most of us have to go to the gym or have to go get this or have to go to the coffee or we have to go do this with our girlfriend or boyfriend, our wife or spouse or husband, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of things that we have to do.
Yeah.
So
True.
the
So
amount of time that you're spending on busy work,
yeah.
you will end up needing to start asking the question, what do I value? And continuing to tell somebody, no, you can't go see them because you're busy working, but then that work isn't actually producing anything.
Yeah.
Which direction do you think most people will eventually go? They'll stop doing the
Eventually they
busy
stop
work
doing the busy work.
and they'll end up stopping doing their quote unquote dream.
Yep.
All along, they thought their dream was being run by busy, and busy didn't really result in anything.
Yeah.
So therein lies the very, very tough part of business.
That's
How
true.
do you do a lot of work because you know it takes a ton of work and weed through what is busy, non-productive work?
And
I
focus.
mentioned to you earlier,
Yeah.
because there was a joke, right, about email and texting now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have been forced back into, and forced is a word. I forced myself out of email because it takes me so long to read.
Mm-hmm.
So when I knew that I had to not, I knew I had a lot of work to do, and I began to cut out busy work. Busy work for me began, reading. It took too long.
Yeah.
So you can give me a text with broken English that makes no sense to most people, has a lot of U's instead of Y-O-U, like
Yeah. Yeah.
I can do that. I can get through it. And that's a lot of my early success. Now, impossible. Can't do it. You got to have the long paper. You got to have more, on
Yeah.
this level of business, you need more of that.
Yeah. It's
So,
true. And
can
that's
you? You can
yeah.
if
Yeah.
you can be that Ethiopian runner that runs a half marathon, a full marathon, and you go, dude, that dude weighs like 82 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, how did he have the energy to run that far? He didn't have any muscle,
Came
right?
from
Like,
it's just
right? Like, so how
yeah.
thin can you go? I don't know, like
Then can you go? It's true though, and I think that, like, for example, a lot of people, they don't like email either, and so they feel almost like, I don't want to collect it from my customer because, my customer prefers SMS, and it's easier to send an SMS, and I don't have to worry about entering in someone's email and this and that. But they're missing out on so many good opportunities, and it only takes a couple extra seconds per client to enter in that data, and then it's there. It's there forever.
Data is
So
the key word.
data is the key word, 100%. And that's where,
Text messaging isn't data.
yes, it's true. It's really not, and especially nowadays where, like, if you even send someone the wrong text message, they're gonna block you faster than they would if it was an email. An email, they'll more likely just trash it, but to go through the, like setting up a spam filter, marking it spam, they'll usually just trash it,
Well, it's not, I'm just, my point of a business is never going to list that I've seen ever list text messaging as customer data.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah.
I mean, it would all be in how many emails that they have.
Mm-hmm. 100%. And there's a lot more you can tie back to it, and everybody's got an email, like, my kids had email before they had cell phone numbers, and it just goes to show you, like, where we prioritize those kinds of things. But the big thing too is, what I like about email personally is that the communications are a lot more rich, so it's a lot. I could send someone drip emails back to back to back, and it's almost like it's part of a story because they have to actually read it. It's lengthier. But if I do the same thing with just quick SMS blasts, 160 characters, they see it more as spammy. But reality is both are good, but they only take a couple seconds to get both. But it's per customer. And so some people say, I could save those couple seconds. So it's like, okay, so if you get 100 customers, great, that's good. You have some data, some. And so that's where someone might say, I'm doing a lot. I got 100 leads that came in, but you only got partial leads. You only got part of it. You weren't forcing the email. You weren't
So
forcing
so
things.
let's throw this idea out there.
Sure.
Right. You just talked about email. We talked about messaging. We talked about interacting with customers. And let's go back to that idea of busy work. Because you just said, hey, if I drip something, okay, that's going to take a lot of work for somebody to sit down and write all that out. Whether they use AI, whether they use whatever, they got to spend time to
spend
do
time
that.
doing it. Yep.
Will you do that for 10 years?
If you want to be in business for 50, yeah.
Or instead of dripping, maybe you do a monthly.
Yeah.
Maybe you do just what, because you go, hey, this is a form of communication I don't want to let go. I can't do every part of everything. So if I do know there is some value in sending an email, maybe that's one a month because it's less busy work where I'm not really putting a lot of effort into it. And I just know I have to get these out versus I can go one time, once a month, block off that time,
send out,
and then I give the most highest quality. It actually gets read. It doesn't have a 0.03 click open rate. It has a 12.2 click open rate.
Makes a big difference.
It's a massive difference.
And it's something that everyone should be capable of doing, running their business.
Yes.
That's where you can be working in your business and on your business at the same time, right? But that's where I think that's necessary. And the best example I've seen, I mentioned this briefly before, is so my mother, she's an artist. She sells paintings. In comparison to selling automotive services, selling artwork, I tell you, because, like, I've gone to shows with her when I was a kid. I had to work the booths.
Sure
I had to sell artwork and stuff.
Because it's subjective, right?
Oh man, yeah, it was tough and it was a grind, but she always did so well. And I always wondered, I would see other people at the other booths, and my dad always made a point of going with me. We'd go around to the other booths to do some research, look at how their booths were set up, or, network, things like that. But then also we would go and we would take a look at the actual booths themselves and see how busy they were. And we'd say, okay, like, that one's not very busy. So, okay, well, what do we learn from that? But then we'd also buy something from them, kind of cheer them up a bit. That was my dad's, the good side of things. But a lot of it was just research. And that's where I learned a lot of business things and marketing in general, just years of helping at these art shows and seeing how things, because listen, if you can sell artwork, you could pretty much damn near sell anything. I'm telling you, that's a grind. Okay. But she always did phenomenally well, especially at these shows where, you'd have most booths, they were getting, I don't know, per hour, maybe 30, 40 people would pass by, maybe 3 or 4 would purchase something. My mom's booth was always just packed full of people. And not only that, but she had me running around with my sister and we're delivering artwork, like reproductions and stuff, to people that were just walking around and stuff. She's like, oh, that person over there, they just bought this or they just bought that. Go run it over to them. So we'd run it over to them. And I'm thinking, how the hell is she doing all this? And what it was is she would set some stuff up at the booth. She would ask one of us to just like man the booth for a minute, and she would walk around and she was handing out bookmarks. And I'm no joke, to this day, she prints 50,000 bookmarks a year. And around October, she messages me and she's like, I ran out. I need some more. And she's been doing that consistently for my entire childhood. Okay. I'm 40 now. She's been doing that for years. Okay. And a big part of that is it's like, okay, why bookmarks first off, which is pretty cool. So here's a little mini tip. So business cards, people, it's standard. It's like everybody else's stuff. They throw it away. My mom, what she did instead, she printed bookmarks because she said maybe they'll give it to their kid. Maybe they'll use it in their book they're reading this month or whatever. But the biggest thing is it wasn't something that fit easily in their wallet or pocket that would just be forgotten about. She said if they put it in their pocket or something, it's going to be something they remember and pull out later, look at it. But she put a lot of high quality images of her artwork on there. So it was actually something cool to look at. And even if they weren't purchasing in that moment, they were like, wow, look at this. And then they would want to show their friends, like, look at this artwork, da da da, da, stuff like that. So she did really well. So thinking outside the box, going with something that's not the standard, template. Here's a business card, standard size, standard shape and feel, whatever. Going with something different helped her. But the biggest thing was the volume, the amount of activity she did. So when I hear someone tell me, oh, I'm doing a lot right now, I'm doing a lot, in my mind, what my mom was doing is the bar. I'm like, did you hand out 50,000 of anything this year? In a whole year, did you hand out 50,000 of anything? And if the answer is no, in my mind, you're not doing a lot, So like we hand out stuff everywhere. Don't get me wrong. My mom's on another level. She's a social butterfly on a wavelength you have no idea. My dad went to a conference recently. He's in contracting right now. And she went to his conference. And at his conference, she started painting people so she's just doing quick sketches of people that were in the audience. And then she'd walk over and hand it to them. The whole table that's there, she's handing everybody bookmarks, and she just went table to table to table. It's not even her event. Yeah. So what is she doing? She's crazy. And she's been like that since I was a kid. We'd go out to eat at restaurants.
It's natural.
It is
natural hustler.
And it was
natural saleswoman.
Exactly. She would go our table to the waiter, obviously, but then she'd catch the attention of one of the other tables somehow or something. She'd just wander over there. Next thing you know, it's me, my sister, and my dad eating alone. My mom's just gallivanting.
I always admire people like that, right? Like,
oh yeah, yeah, man. Like me, I fill up my car and I'm gone from the gas station. I don't want to talk to anybody.
Nope,
she'll pay at the pump and then she'll walk inside, buy something just so she can talk to people that are inside there. It's insane, but insane is what I think it needs to be, especially during times where maybe you're not getting the results you want.
I'm going to push back with, I think there's a lot of people that think that they do work a lot. And I'm going to say to them, yeah, you do. Stay there. That's the level you want to be at. And that's the only pushback. Is I don't think as many people would actually do what your mom does.
No, I agree.
Because that's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much, Shawn.
You're absolutely right.
Shawn, come on, man. You know what it would take me to do that? I can't do that.
I know what you mean, because I'm not even on that level. That's me. That's nuts. However, I admire it. And I do realize that the reason she has been as successful as she is with her artwork is because of that extended effort.
Agreed. And that's my point. I didn't mean it just to push back.
Oh, no. Yeah.
It was also to push back on the guys that are like, hey, down there, you level down there that are whining about how do I find customers? How do I this? And I just mean level as in you just started or you are at I mean, it's okay. Stop taking offense to saying you're, there's plenty of people who look at me and know that I'm on a lower level than they are. Trust me. Like
Yeah.
I have no offense to that. It's a learning experience to go, will you really
That
ask
massive
yourself that
action.
question
Yeah.
instead of where do all these customers, how do I get customers? I mean, will you do that level of work?
Yeah. That's
Will
an
you?
important question a lot of people need to ask themselves, I think, because we all in our brains think we would and think we want to, because it's more we want to get to that level, but the process itself, I think it's underestimated by a lot of people.
And the amount, not just that's just one aspect of what it takes. There's a lot of people that want to get to a certain level, and it's not just the work. It's also, this is something Nick and we were talking about the other day. We go, I think people think it's easy to get to a certain place when they're around us. I know, especially me in my life, because I just don't complain.
Mm.
I've always loved one of my things just in life, and I just never realized it. And I love to figure things out.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Like,
the same way.
give me
Yeah.
a pin, I'll take it apart. I love to see the way different pins are made. I love
That
just figure.
curiosity, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And it's not just will you put in the work.
Hmm.
That's only one. And most people just won't ever do that.
It's true.
Then will you do the work as well as trying to figure out what you need to keep doing and not complain about the work that is taking to get you to the point
Get
to
to
where you
the
can go look at the next thing to do that you still won't complain about, that you can figure out
Sure.
how to work to that to get to. I mean, it's
Yeah,
never ending figuring things out and not complaining about it. Like,
true.
you
I don't
know,
even think I have time to complain because
yeah, exactly.
yeah, I'm too busy on just figuring it out. And instead of complaining, I'd rather spend that energy and time. Well, let's just figure it out or figure a different
You're
way. And
wasting time that you could be figuring it out if you're
yeah,
running your mouth, you know?
yeah, 100%. And even figuring it out sometimes means just trying something that maybe you know is wrong. Like maybe you're like, hey, I don't think this is going to work, but hey, let's just try it instead of complaining. And then we're going to learn something from that. Like right now, I take, I don't know, maybe I'd say 3 to 4 calls a month where I try and help out. It's either a detailer or a tinter or something, with their business in some capacity. I don't charge them anything for it because I'm not trying to set up a consultancy and be one of those gurus. You know what I mean? But I take these calls because it's research for me. The things that like they're going through is one thing. I can help them with that. That feels good. It's philanthropic. But there's the other aspect where I asked them, like, okay, I hear you talking about this and that in your shop. You're complaining about this and that, but what do you like about your shop? Like, what's working well? What do you get excited for every Monday? You show up and like, what's going well in your shop, and how do we do more of that and get rid of the other stuff? And I learn a lot through that process, but that's a big time investment if you think about it. Like I'm doing 3 or 4 of these every month. That's at least 3 or 4 hours that I'm just donating away every single month. It's away from my family, it's away from my business, it's away from all of these things. But what I'm gaining from that, and I do it consistently, is because I want that information. I want to learn. I'm the curiosity to better things in my business, to learn more things in my business, while at the same time fill a need that I have to want to help people. It's crucial, but a lot of people won't do that. And I've literally been doing that since I started my auto shop. And so you got to think that's 4 years now of me just every month 3 to 4 hours every month talking to people, and it's something I could just stop doing. I would have maybe another hour to go play pool or spend time with my kids or who knows, you know what I mean? But for me, it's important. It's kind of like this podcast. The research I do for this podcast, even like just like researching topics or things to talk about, man, there's at least like 6 hours of things that I just don't even talk about. But the things that I learned, like, man, it's crazy shit and weird stuff too. But it all kind of pieces together because it's all the universe is just connected like that, right? So yeah, you're right though. I think volume is key. Doing a lot, people need to actually do a lot, but you need to do a lot of the right things. I like that the busy work, getting rid of that. You know, that's Yeah. Well, for my mom, it's all just go, go, go. I don't know. She's on a different level, man. That's something else. And like, I know, excuse me, I know that's daunting to a lot of people too, eh? Like, to walk up to strangers and just like put your business out there. Like that's, for a lot of people, that's daunting, but sometimes that's what it takes in one form or another. And I think that the best place to start is with your existing customers, like, that's where getting referrals, things like that. Man, it's so much easier if you just spent an extra little bit of time talking with your customer, give them something for free. I know you don't like that, the give for free thing, but if you're like picking their brain about some things, I think that that's going to be worth it in the long run more than spending extra money on Facebook ads or Google ads or something like that. It's in the long run. I think so. But yeah, so which will bring me to a tip. And that is when you're talking to your customers, one thing to be wary of though is that customers lie. They lie all the time. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
No, do they? And so
I've
they're
never had a customer lie to me.
never
Must
ever.
be your Canadians.
Must be, yeah, the Canadian ones. They were too polite to tell the truth. That's what it's. So I think a lot of people though are under the impression that customers always tell the truth. And by that I mean they pick up their vehicle, they
Customer's
leave.
always right.
Customer's always right, absolutely. And they say, were you happy with everything? And just as much as you're shy as a business owner to talk to a random stranger about things, your customer might also be apprehensive to tell you the truth about how things were. And so I was doing some research on research groups of all things and focus groups, and they found that during the study, one of the questions was, how often do you lie in a day? And it was a really interesting study because they admitted that they lied 6 out of 10 times if they could, just about random shit. But then what they found out was that that was actually a lie as well. And then when they were put under hypnosis, they admitted that it was 8 out of 10 times. So so it was pretty funny study. But that brings me to two parts. Is one is that customers and focus groups and all these kinds of things, trying to understand better your demographics in your business and better understand what your customers are looking for, what they were happy with, what's going right in your business. They do have some merit. There is some usefulness there with asking customers for feedback. However, you do have to understand that they may not tell you the truth all the time. And so you have to now go on a quest to find the truth outside of those customers. A good place to start is with upset customers. Anytime we have an upset customer, for example, we always talk to them and ask them things like, listen, we understand you're upset about this one thing, but what were some of the things that you did like about the service? Because usually that's their most vulnerable, scenario. They feel like they've been, wronged in some way, or they, didn't get the treatment they wanted. And so they want us to make it right, which we will. But it's also the time where now they're going to be most honest with us as well. But that aside, there's a lot of ways that you can find out some honest answers. And the biggest one is Google. So Google is an amazing platform, mainly because when it's just the customer and the search bar, they're going to be 100% honest with that search bar. And so the cool thing with Google is that you can find out a lot of stats that they release about search terms, search phrases, so on and so forth. I'll post some tools for how to do that, because you might be wondering, well, that's great, but if I ask Google, like, please tell me this or that, you might not get the results you're looking for. So I'll post some tools that you can use to find out this data, and you'll find some pretty interesting things that you can use to navigate your business, because ultimately finding out your true demographics and what these people are interested in have significant impacts. And I'm going to bring up a quick story about Walmart to do this. So Walmart has done this themselves to find out what their customers truly want. And one thing that they found was when hurricanes are approaching a city, sales skyrocket for strawberry Pop-Tarts. Why strawberry? Who knows? Why Pop-Tarts? Who knows?
Well, I get Pop-Tarts. It's easy to eat.
No refrigeration.
Yeah, no refrigeration,
Yeah.
but strawberry, yeah, that is.
Why strawberry? I don't know. It could be because, well, for the last 32 years, because I had to look it up. I was trying to figure out why the hell strawberry. I had to look it up. Strawberry Pop-Tarts consecutively, year after year,
Number 1 seller.
32 years, have been increasing their sales over any other prepackaged.
Oh, not just number 1 seller, but always continually to increase.
Increase year after year for the last 32 years, consistent increase.
Well, strawberry Pop-Tarts pretty dang good.
I'm telling you, yeah, my mom might work for them. I don't know, but that's what she's gonna do. Strawberry Pop-Tart princess. But so
maybe it's because they came out with so many random weird ones, right? Like
that's true. They got some crazy
some
ones. Yeah.
strange
They got
flavors.
some. Yeah, have you ever had the cinnamon one?
Mm.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's we can't find it here either, but they had it in the islands when we were living there, and
I
unfortunately,
haven't
they
eaten Pop-Tarts in
other.
like 30 years.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, yeah. My kids, they love them. Oh my God. But yeah, so strawberry, I'm not sure why. But yeah, so people would search in Google prior to a hurricane coming for strawberry Pop-Tarts, and they would place their orders. So Walmart started using that information. They would preemptively ship massive shipments of strawberry Pop-Tarts to zones that had hurricanes on their way. I understand there's a side of this that's dark, okay? However,
And smart.
and smart, genius.
And
And so,
smart.
and they still do that to this day, by the way. And so the thing is, though, during all of their focus groups and when they were asking customers as they were leaving, and they would even do things like, we're giving away a chance to win $1,000 shopping spree at Walmart. All you have to do is fill out this survey. They would ask all the customers, like, what's the number one product you like to buy here? What's your favorite snack for your kids? None of them were responding strawberry Pop-Tarts. But the data from Google showed, and the sales that they were actually making showed, strawberry Pop-Tarts were the number one seller. And what it was is people were referencing other things. They either didn't think about it in the moment, or maybe they just lied. Maybe they were trying to tell Walmart what they thought Walmart wanted to hear, all of these kinds of things. So the customer data that you're getting, you have to be very wary of the source. But a great source is Google. And that's where, even when you're doing the type ahead, where you start typing something and other things populate, you can just do that on your own, and you can just test different things and see what pops up. And those are going to be things that other people have searched for locally around you. So obviously there's a lot of, algorithmic things that impact it, but basically by doing some research on your own, you can start to connect some dots like what Walmart did. And so how this can play into your business exactly depends on what you're selling, depends on, various factors about your customers. But this is where your goal now should be to try and get honest feedback, whether it's from customers or it's from Google or from other sources. Try and put some pieces together and connect dots and look for those patterns, just like what Walmart found with the pattern of the hurricanes coming and people's food preparation anxieties going up. And so if you look for these patterns in your business, you'll be able to see that maybe there's some commonalities you hadn't identified before. Like maybe there's I don't know, a huge camping thing that comes to town every year, and maybe a majority of the people that go there, they get their cars ceramic coated, before the event, or who knows. There could be just random things that you're unaware of that could very well be happening right under your nose. And if you're not aware of it because you're asking the wrong questions to your customers, or you're getting your data from the wrong places, you'll not be able to make those connections. Strawberry Pop-Tarts, man. It's crazy. Yeah, but yeah. You know what? One last one quick on that. So just because it was part of the same research I was doing on these focus groups, Starbucks, they did a similar type thing. I thought of it because they also used hypnosis to get the truth out of their people. They asked people, like, what do you like about Starbucks? Do you go to Starbucks? Do you this and that? Most of the people filling out the survey said, yeah, I go to Starbucks. And then they would say how many times a week or a month or whatever. And they said, oh, several times a week. Under hypnosis, what they found is that all of
several
them,
times a year.
yeah, they were like, I rarely go. And then they said, what do you consider Starbucks? And they said corporate coffee. And so they asked them, they said, well, imagine you're in a Starbucks, and this is under hypnosis. And they said, look around and describe the customers that you see. And they all described, they said, oh, there's like, 40-year-old guys in suits and this and that and everything. And so they said, do you identify with those customers? And they said, no, I identify more with the barista. And so they identified with the guy behind the counter serving the coffee versus the actual customers. And so what the message overall was, I don't feel like I belong. And so when you think about it,
and their input didn't really matter because they only win a couple times a year. So you
True.
really should be getting your input from the guy in the suit that
that
is
goes
there
there
every
all the
day,
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is true. And but you know, obviously hypnosis might not be the thing you could do, but there are ways that you can find out these kinds of questions, why people come, why they this, that. So like one thing we do with our customers is we always ask for a review, of course. We always ask for referrals, but then we also ask them, the top things that they enjoyed about the actual process of it. And we drill down. We don't accept a vague answer. It's like when you ask your kids when they get home from school, how was school? They're like, oh, it was good. And then if you just leave it there, you've learned nothing, But if you actually press a little bit and you say like, okay, yeah, you like their booking process. Okay, great. What specifically about the booking process did you like? So like push for a little bit more feedback, and some of it might be part of that section that needs truth serum, but there will be some stuff there that will resonate and will be truthful and make sense. But that's where, for me, it's all about finding those patterns. I love patterns with customers because building demographics is so much deeper than male, female, 40s, 50s. It's so much deeper than that. And when you find those connections, you can make some magic happen. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, good one. Good one.
Thank you, sir.
I'm gonna do a 2-part tip.
Ooh, double tip today. Oh
Not a
boy.
double tip.
Oh, a two-part. Ah,
Second part
nice.
will be next
And then
episode.
the extra nudge. Okay, gotcha.
Next episode. Next episode, we'll get that not the
Hey.
extra nudge, it's just a tip. Just a tip. Double tip. No extra. No extra push in there.
No extra
Just a
push.
tip.
Just a little
Just the tip.
side thrust.
And I'm gonna do it on, and listen, I think there's a big emergence happening, and I'm excited to see it. Is it the part of where you finally struck oil and you see this boom happening? Did it happen because of Corona? Has it happened because of the car market? What is happening here with our industry? You mentioned many people that are coming into OrbisX are saying, hey, we're coming in to do this as a side gig, as a investment business, as an opportunity. How did they get to hear of the opportunity, and why is there even an opportunity that our industry is allowing now people to make money, and not just a little money, make large amounts of money part-time when they need it? And our industry isn't struggling. Our industry of car care is booming. It's exploding. I mentioned in a recent episode, what was projected at about 4 billion is now projected at 5.06 billion in 2025. Right. So, we're continuing to blow out the water, and you see it not just in the people coming in to invest with businesses. You see it also with more businesses that are car care, like chemical providers. You're seeing an emergence of them now headed to the parts store more. Where we talked to a manager of a multi-store, multi-state chain of car care, like a distributor hub house, right? One of those little houses, but they're in a couple different states. Well, they're talking about kicking a couple of their brands out because they're hearing down the rumor mill that those brands, one of them was recently bought, they're headed towards the parts store. And so this brick and mortar distributor doesn't want to compete against the parts store with the same products.
Yeah.
How in the world are these products now going into the parts store? That's not the amazing quality of the products. Let's start there, right?
It's true.
Let's just start there. There's even another massive brand, which I have no ill regards to this brand. I think it's amazing. They got their launch off of phone cannons and Facebook. And now they even posted recently, about a week and a half ago, that they are going into advanced auto care, advanced auto parts, right? Wow. So CG, if they've been in Walmart, now they're going to be in the parts store. There's other brands moving to the parts store. So there's a massive boom outside of our industry, seeing what's going inside of car care, how much money is on the table. we know this to be fact too, because I don't want to chase that rabbit. Never mind. I'm not going there. I'm going to leave that one out on the table. I'll lose my thought. I'll lose my thought. But I was going to go, never mind. I can't do that. All right. So the other way that we can know that our side is going and moving further and has more opportunity for each of us is there's a theory that many of us have started to really, really scratch our head about. Shawn, how many subscriptions do you have that come out of your bank account on a monthly basis?
Oh boy.
Right? Too much to count. So we
40
start
plus.
going,
40
we
plus
start
probably.
going, man, I want subscription service in my business. You
Yeah.
see it at the car washes. Once they started that $3, then $5 wash, then they went to $20 all you can wash. And
Yeah.
they dumped the cheap stuff and went, hey, you can wash whatever you want for $20. They absolutely love the model subscriptions. So many people love the model subscriptions. Will it ever pull into detailing? How does subscriptions come into detailing? What is the time frame for this next thing that so many people are really starting to want to know?
Mm.
And what they're really wanting to know, and you'll see it in every Facebook group, how do I do this thing that people are calling maintenance?
Mm. Yeah.
Maintenance is subscription.
It is. It's a 1-to-1. That's exactly what it is.
That's what maintenance is. It's
Yeah.
subscription service. So everybody that's always talking about subscription and how great it is, now that I'm with you, love subscription. I call it maintenance, right? I had a kid yesterday. I talked to him on the phone because he kept asking my partner who lives in Vegas, hey man, can I get some coatings? It's like, no, you need to buy, you need to buy them from the website. If you want to, do a wholesale program or something, where you can, and we do have that. So I was talking to him about our wholesale program where guys can save 20% on each order. And it's a program for it. Right. So I'm sitting there talking to him about it. I'm going, what are you trying to do inside your business? And he goes, man, I would just love it if I could get people and I'd do their cars more than just one time.
Mm.
Because I'd like to get the point where I can divide out my business to where I have new customers as well as customers that I'm seeing on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, but that isn't what so many of us have really gotten into. And there's a large percentage of the population that consider themselves car care professionals who have actually tried to remove themselves from the business of maintenance. They only want to be correction and coding professionals. Then they call them special. Then they're going to call other names. Then call it like,
These are the never do interior guys too, right?
these are the never do interior guys. They're the guys that want to be on TV, but but then will be publicly saying we don't do anything but corrections and coatings. We send all other types of detailing down the street, and we're going to encourage other people to do the same thing. Come follow my footsteps. Oh, wait, you didn't realize once he was on TV, he actually has an investor that invested into his business. So come on, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? There's been this blind, arrogant, motherfucking just fuck you personality to you fuckers that think you could only be
100%.
correction and coding specialist. It was never going to pan out for the long period that one person could do it, not for a couple of years, not just to make a little money. I got it. You did that. Wonderful. Ha ha. You still behind that polisher? Really? You really? I talked to the guy, it's been about a year or so, is running his mouth on me, and he couldn't believe that I don't check every one of my details that go out from my business. And I go, you mean you do? I mean,
Yeah.
you actually have your hands on every car that
Crazy.
goes out of your business? Like, really?
Man.
That's a shame. goes
Yeah.
back to that last episode. I don't know if I got it clearly said correctly, but it was like, what do you want to be? Do you want to be a detailer or do you want to be a business owner? I mean, what do you want to be?
Like, I mean, if someone wants to be a detailer, that's great. But if someone's out there saying they're a business owner and then they're, checking every car, yeah, that's madness, man. You know, I,
Yeah.
I had to jump in 2 seconds because
Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
actually onboarded 2 clients recently to OrbisX, and they said something that was so interesting to me that I literally gave them an extra 3 months free. I couldn't believe it. They said, all we want to know is how to set up maintenance plans. I said, perfect, no problem, but we should show you everything else in the system too. And they said, understood. And this was one of the guys that he has an existing successful business, different industry. He's jumping into detailing as a side business, well, an investment business that he's setting up. And he only wants to do maintenance. He won't take a one-time customer. He's only doing maintenance. So the only customers he's going after, and I said, first off, hats off for like narrowing down your customer to one particular type of customer. You're looking for someone that wants continual, regular maintenance for their vehicle. That's it. Number one, it's going to be so easy to just go after that demographic now because he has it specified. Second thing, I said, hats off, man. You're the Netflix of detailing. I said, that's amazing. Like, the only customers you're dealing with are like, listen, if I'm not getting you on a set schedule, because he said the biggest thing for him, he has another business, he sells party supplies. And he says the party supplies is great because we sell birthday stuff, but that kid's gonna have a birthday every year, and they got to do a different theme. So they got to do this and that. And then they're gonna have parties and stuff. And he said his whole business in the beginning was just one-offs. We'll sell you anything. If you want to buy just one candle or you want to buy this, whatever, balloon. He said we switched entirely to packages. He says we have birthday package A, B, C, D, E. And he said, same thing. We have it for bar mitzvahs. We have it for this, that, all these different, holidays or events or life spectacles, whatever. But he said switching that model made so much sense because he's dealing with a smaller customer base that keeps growing, but they're continual customers for every holiday. He said, I want to do the same thing in detailing. And he said, I don't want the guy I see once and then I see him 4 years later or something. He said, the only people we want to deal with, you sign on with us and you're a customer now repeatedly. He said, I can distribute my resources so much better. Hiring is so much easier. Like just scheduling everything. So anyway, I had to interject real quick because
Love it.
it was an interesting concept to me. I hadn't thought of a maintenance only
That's
detail.
so 2010, when I got out of the car wash world and went into full chemical sales, was maintenance only detailing and chemical sales. I got my maintenance customers up to where I knew exactly how much I would make per month.
Yeah.
Then it was like, great. The rest of the time, I knew I had all my bases covered. Then the rest of the time was all chemicals.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wait, was this when you were working on your business or in your business? You're like both, you fucking idiot.
Right. Like, so I've always loved and I think the reason is there's this term. Oh shit. There's this term called long tail, right? The long tail of business. This weekend I got, yesterday I got the message confirmed today, appointments all set up. Everything's good to go. 3 cars tomorrow for a guy that I've cleaned. I've talked about him with you. We talk about him all the time. I've cleaned his cars for over 20 years.
Beautiful. Yeah.
3 more. I mean, it's at least 3 out of every 4 weekends. He's got 2 to 3 vehicles that he wants cleaned every weekend.
Beautiful.
How do you get there? Right? How do you have that long tail of business? I want to give, so over the next, this is one part, and then the next part I'll do, next part would be more of the sell. Today's going to be more of then the finish of my tips going to be more on then, the concept, right? So the concept of maintenance, because first of all, we've got to understand the price has to be different than your other types of detailing. Listen, ceramic coatings are still massive. They still are. uno, dos, and tres for us still absolutely blow it out the water. And the benefit of putting down a coating and then you offer maintenance is, how many people we know this right now? And this is the big, massive push. The reason why you should do that as a package is we know for fact, economic fact, people want to keep their cars longer.
Mm-hmm.
Price of cars, all that, whether it's inflation, they're going to spend money on everything else. Fact, they're keeping their cars longer. Great. Number one way to take care of a car, protection wise, is a ceramic coating. Don't argue. It's a fact. So you got those facts built up. You go, great. The number one thing that I should do in my business is encourage protection and then caring for the protection. Let me show you by a story and maybe how you could see how you could work it into your business. Let me share with you a story of me as a customer and how I got lost as a customer and was not able to be a maintenance customer for somebody else. Then I will share a story about how I am a maintenance customer now for somebody, to where I'm actually having to educate them on how to maintain me as a customer. Okay. First off, organization, I have said, is my number one flaw as a human being. No doubts about it. When I was working and building and heavy, going through all the stuff with, stages of depression, with the early stages of my spinal stenosis, as well as building 2 businesses and all that was going on in my life, the part that did not continue to go was the parts that I weren't good at. So things that I was great at, I did great at. Things I weren't so good at, I let go. Right?
Yeah.
You can imagine the way my house began to absorb large amounts of waste and clutter and friends even. I am not embarrassed. I lived in a very not good way, unorganized. It is who I am. I know that's who I am. And there became a point in time where I realized I needed help. Customers seeking help for organization. Herein lies an organization business. Okay, let's start putting ourselves in some place through, right? Customers seeking help for keeping a car clean. Are you a detailer or are you a business owner that wants to help that customer? Which are you? Right?
100%.
I thought I needed, somebody to organize, and they did a great job at it. They did a wonderful job. Pulled so much stuff out of my house, spent days organizing, and looked awesome. Let's all understand, putting ourselves into a different scenario. We've all seen a customer that we clean their car and 6 months later, 2 months later, fill in the blank. We all know what it got back to what it used to be.
100%.
6 months later, my house was back. Like, I had to have it done twice. And the second time wasn't by them. Second time was actually by painters, because I said, I'm painting the house and I'm going to throw everything away. Right? I realized my habit didn't get corrected by somebody that I paid, hoping that they would correct my habit and keep my life in an order that I needed. There's a part of it we got to understand. Maintenance customers need you to maintain their car. Like, it's part of what they need to operate their life. And there was this organizational company that could not understand that I needed them to come back on a regular basis and take care of my house. That's weekly cleanings. And so they wanted to charge me, and I used them for a couple times, but they wanted to charge me the same rate that they charged for organizing my house. And so after a couple times, I went, wait. Whoa.
Yeah.
No way. I
might as well just let me space out my visits and I'll call you for a one-off.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
just come back in 6 months unless it, but it just, it doesn't, that's not maintenance. Maintenance is, and it's a great thing, which is why I brought it up. I've shared the story. A lot of and it started because my partner Nick and I were joking about the way soap used to scum up so bad a long time ago. Old soap was just so hard to work with, and you would get soap scum and soap stains. And a lot of the reason why I started putting on, it wasn't coatings back then. We used sealants. I would put sealants on a new customer that was coming into my maintenance program. A lot of it was just so that I knew I could clean and wash their cars better. It was easier for me. I didn't have to fight soap scum. I didn't have to fight the things that we don't have technology to fight with today. So I knew, though, that all along I had to offer a different rate for maintenance as it is for that initial deep clean. Number one thing you have to realize is this is a long tail, and that long tail has to be paid out in small increments, not one big tail all at one go. Space it out, right? We were at $50 a cleaning for probably over 10 years. I had customers that then finally go, hey, listen, we probably need to pay you more. I'm like, yeah, great, let's go. Now this guy's at $100. So he's going to spend $300 this weekend. He'll spend another couple $100 next weekend. He's happy to do this because after 20 something years, it's a part of his life, and it doesn't, the value of the $100 to $50 to whatever is literally as peanuts compared to, and here is the ultimate thing, which we will talk about heavily next week, how to sell it. How do you sell maintenance? And the hook for him and the hook for me is the story of now how I had to educate somebody to take care of me as a maintenance customer. And that is my AC guy.
All right.
Years ago, I got one of those guys. AC goes out, 100-degree day. You come home and you're like, oh, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, make calls, beg people, find some guy to come out and fix it at nighttime, so that we're not dying inside.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I go, dude, I need you then to come back later. I want you to come back another time. And I had to start telling him now the cool part this year, he now has maintenance to where he called me. This is his second year. Last year was his first year. This was his second year. And he called me with a schedule, and he already had too many people. I couldn't get on a schedule. He had to move me to later. And it was this past Saturday. And even on that call, he's sitting there, he's showing me things. And this is a funny part, man. I love it. I was out washing my cars while he's working on my AC unit. So, we're talking about the way I maintain my car. And he goes, well, actually, I do want to show you this over here. And, it's not much, but it might do something later. And he was, it's electrical stuff. I don't know, but he was showing me this wire that had just a slight little burn mark on it. I go, so when's it going out? He goes, you don't know. I go, pull it. You got one on you? He goes, yeah, but it will be. And I go, dude, I wouldn't much. And I go, this is why you're here. Yeah. And he kind of looked at me and I go, I don't mean to apologize. I didn't mean to come across that way. I go, I'm paying you because I want you to make sure I don't get to that point where me and my family's outside in the summer. So if this unit has a slight little problem and I can fix it, and it was like $150 part, all out, I'm like $280 and I'm good. My unit's maintained.
Yep, exactly. That's what it's like. I just got my hood fan replaced, and the same thing happened. My electrician, he's been here, so we've been doing a lot of rentals in the house. We upgraded our hydro, everything. Anyway, he was here, and the electrician kept asking me the same question. And I turned to him at one point and I said, you're good. You're good. I said, listen, I'm a sales guy and you're fucking selling the shit out of me. You're good. He fixed the hood fan. He installed the new one. And then he turned to me and he said, what else? And I was like, well, I really only needed that done. And he's like, you sure? And I was like, oh, hold on. I asked my wife, it's like, hey, Shay, do we need anything else done? She's like, actually, yeah, I wanted 2 dimmer switches downstairs. I was like, all right, let's go put some dimmer switches done. When he was done that, he turns to me, what else? This guy, by the time he left, yeah, I was like my whole house is like redone. Like it was crazy.
But
Yeah.
peace of
Mine.
mind.
Exactly.
Stop there.
Oh,
No more.
okay. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Next. Yeah.
Next, you know, whip out another tip. But
Yeah. Part 2.
part 2.
How can
Here we
we
go.
sell and what is peace of mind when it comes to maintenance and car care?
Yeah, beautiful. I'm gonna have some stuff prepped for that. Beautiful. Yeah. Oh, I love this topic. You have no idea. Like it's anyway. Okay, before I dive into more shit. Awesome. Okay, so next week, peace of mind, maintenance. Let's go. Beautiful. Marty, man, awesome. Once again, banged it out. Guys, go get yourself some strawberry Pop-Tarts, and we'll see you next week, man. Awesome. Part 2. Tune in next week. Let's go. All right. See you, man.
See ya.